Okay, welcome back. So this is part of the PAIGE series framework, and today we're looking at P for policy. Okay, let me show you something. This is what many AI policies look like in UK companies right now. Employees may use AI tools for work purposes. All users must comply with data protection legislation and company values. It doesn't tell anyone about which tools they can use. It doesn't say anything about what data they can put into these tools. It doesn't mention who is accountable if something goes wrong. And it certainly doesn't address the fact that the employee's email client, CRM, HR systems all have AI features running in the background that nobody has authorized. Today, I'm going to show you what a real AI policy looks like. Only 22% of UK businesses have provided training to those people that are involved in AI deployment, and that's the government's own research. Yet 64% of companies are using AI in their organizations. The gap between those two numbers is where AI policy should sit. Most people don't have one that works. Here's the problem. A policy that says comply with data protection laws hasn't done any governance work. It's delegated the governance call to the individual employee in that moment when they're using the tool. What you want is a policy that answers these three questions. Who is permitted to use the AI, with what data, and for what purpose? Those three questions, answered consistently for every tool in use, is the basis of your AI policy. Most policies cover the obvious tools like ChatGPT, maybe Copilot. What they don't cover is the embedded AI, the writing suggestions that you might get in your email, the meeting transcription tool that your team started using last month, the automated scoring in your application tracking system, the AI summarization in your document storage platform. AI isn't something your staff are going away and using. It's something that is woven and embedded into your workflows. Your policy needs to cover it wherever it appears. So the fix is make sure there's a line in your policy that covers AI embedded tools, including but not limited to those on the existing register. This stuff changes quickly. Okay, gap 2, data classification. So if your policy says do not enter confidential information into AI tools, you haven't governed anything. You've asked your staff to make a judgment call every time. Is this confidential? Is a client's name confidential? What about aggregate financial data? Is that confidential? People will answer those questions differently. Some will be overly cautious and just not use the tools. Some will be just too relaxed and put all sorts of stuff in it. What you need is a classification framework. Define your categories. Personal data under UK GDPR, commercially sensitive information, client data under an NDA, intellectual property. State clearly which categories are permissible with which tool. Make a judgment call at policy level once, so your staff don't have to make that judgment every time they go to do a piece of work. Gap 3, tool approval. Without a formal approval, your staff might go off and use tools that they have access to at home. I've reviewed the contracts for all of the main tools, and many of them state that they will use your data to train their models. Some of them store it for weeks or months. Your confidential information has become somebody else's training data. These are the standard terms and conditions of tools people use every single day. It's not hypothetical. Your policy needs to have an approved list of tools and a way of getting new tools added to the policy. The policy doesn't need to slow you down. A simple form, 2-day turnaround, quick and easy to either accept or reject tools onto your system. I ask senior execs regularly, do they know the data residency terms for the tools that they're using? If they don't, that's a clear governance gap, and you could be at risk. Gap 4, incident response. What happens when something goes wrong? And it will. A member of staff puts client data into an unapproved AI tool. The AI tool produces a factually incorrect output that one of your customers acts on. An employee uses an AI tool to write content that they put out as their own work and doesn't tell you. None of this is hypothetical. There are loads of examples of this happening. Your policy needs to define an escalation path. Who does the staff member contact? What's the timeline? Who decides whether it's a reportable data breach? Without defining this path in your data policy, things get dealt with informally, inconsistently, and sometimes too late. By the time it becomes a problem, the window to close the damage down may have already disappeared. Gap 5, the review cadence. Now, AI is moving enormously quickly. Every month there are new changes, new ways of working, new tools to play with, new things that can make a difference to your business. Tools that were compliant with your data in January might not be today. New tools that might have been adopted informally may not have been through your processes. And the whole regulation that sits around this is evolving all the time. Policy without regular review will very quickly, in this area in particular, become irrelevant. My advice is to have a formal review of the policy at the very latest every 6 months. And somebody ought to be responsible for keeping their eye on regulatory changes, changes to the software that has been used. Anytime there's an update, somebody needs to be having a think about, what does this mean for the use of our data? What does it mean for how we're going to use it in our organization? Somebody needs to be keeping on top of all of this. And then there needs to be a formal review at least every 6 months. Okay, so your policy doesn't have to be 20 pages long, 2 to 3 pages of A4. Here's what a functional policy needs to contain. 1, the purpose and scope, who it applies to, what it covers. 2, the list and the processes for requesting additions. 3, the data rules, the categories, what can be done with what data. 4, accountability, who owns this policy, who does staff contact if they're unsure about using AI. 5, prohibited uses, specific examples of things that you do not want your staff to do with your data and with AI, not vague principles. 6, incident reporting. What happens next? What happens? How do you escalate these issues? And 7, a review date. Not a document that's reviewed every 2 or 3 years. That's just too slow for AI. It needs to be maximum 6 months. It could probably do with a higher cadence even than that. And that's it. 2 or 3 pages, written clearly. A document that can be read by anyone in your organization, and they don't need a legal degree to understand it. Don't make it too long. If nobody reads it, then it's not acting as a governance document. And if something goes wrong, then you may have to answer for the fact that you've created something that is just not digestible by your workforce. This week, go and have a look at your AI policy, or maybe your IT usage policy, and check it against those 5 components: scope, data classification, tool approval, incident response, and review cadence. How many of the 5 does it address? The answer is fewer than 3. It probably needs work. The answer is none. Just start from scratch. It'll take you half a day, but that'll be a worthwhile half a day. If you go to the professor.ai, there's a governance document generation tool there. That might be a place to start. Free to get your AI policy out of that. I'll put a link down below. A full written version of this video as an insight will be also on the website, and I'll put a link to that as well. So go and see that if you want a bit more detail about this particular subject. Next up is A for accountability. When AI gets it wrong, who's accountable for it? Make sure you subscribe to get the whole series. I'll see you in the next one.